So the New York Islanders have signed centerman free agent Derick Brassard. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe. Let's take a look at the Islanders bringing in Derick Brassard. So Derick Brassard, who's been talked about now for a couple of weeks, possibly signing a contract. He seemed to be pretty close with the Edmonton Oilers earlier in the week, but he makes his spot official. He is going to the New York Islanders on a one-year contract for $1.2 million. So this is basically a prove-it contract for Derick Brassard. I think this is a really good pickup for the New York Islanders. It's not the big guy that we were hoping would jump into the top six for the Islanders necessarily. I think it's been a little bit overhyped. He's filling the void of Valtteri Filppula. Now, Filppula did have a really good season, and the Islanders need a good third line. So a good third line center. You're going to see a little bit more goal scoring, I think, from this line. Now, Leo Komarov will be on that line, and you have to think Dalcol, Ho-Sang, Beauvillier, they could be filling out the roster there on that third line, interchanging there. So the New York Islanders have a real chance. This is a big pickup. You look at the depth down the middle, right? You have Matt Barzal, Brock Nelson, and things fall off. Obviously you have Casey Cizikas, who I love. Casey Cizikas is a great guy, but he's on that fourth line. He's not moving. You have the third line. Who do you fill into that void? Is it before the signing of Brassard, it was going to be maybe Beauvillier. Josh Bailey could jump in. It was kind of, nobody was really sure. Now, the good thing could have been the Islanders could have brought up a really good player who played extremely well in Bridgeport last season, is Otto Koivula. So he could have came up. He may still have a chance, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult with Brassard coming in now. Derick Brassard has a history in the NHL. He spent time with the New York Rangers. Now, he ended up being a huge package deal. I'm sure Ranger fans were sending him flowers to his door in Ottawa when he was sent to the Ottawa Senators for Mika Zibanejad, who for sure has become the better player. But also with that said, he had a pretty good year with the New York Rangers. He had a good run with them, when they were going to the Stanley Cup Playoffs, going to the finals and things like that. And then things kind of fell off when he went to Ottawa. He had a pretty good first year, and then things fell off completely from there. Eventually, he would get traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins. He was going to be the third line guy. He was going to be a second line center that could play the third line. We're seeing Pittsburgh still struggling with that today. They may have found the solution in Galchenyuk, but we're going to have to wait and see. He may be another one part of that whole situation. He just doesn't. He's a good second line center that just can't play the third line. Then he goes to the Florida Panthers, basically just to move him. It was part of the Pittsburgh Panthers deal with, Bukestad, and Brassard was a piece in that deal. He would end up going to the Colorado Avalanche at the deadline last year, where he would inevitably become a free agent. So, Derick Brassard, what's going to happen with Brassard? Listen, he's a good third-line center. Take a look at his points last year. He only had 23 points in 70 games last year. Now, that is interchanging on the second and third line, so that's not terrible for a guy like Brassard. But then you look at something like his age. He is 31 years old. He's going to be 32, possibly 33 by the end of this contract. So you need to, I feel like the expectations are a little high on him. Maybe let him come in under the radar. Let him fit into the role. Let him, get molded to the system. And he could work out. Now, the other problem I have with this as well is that, let's be honest, Barry Trotz is known to be a very defensive-minded coach, and Derick Brassard is not really that. So, maybe he allows the Islanders to have a little bit more flexibility in terms of their goal-scoring abilities. We know the Islanders had a huge reduction in goals against last season, but they did, unfortunately, what cost them in the playoffs was they couldn't score enough goals against a very talented scoring team like the Carolina Hurricanes in the second round of the playoffs last year. So maybe they're looking to add a little bit of that. If you have a guy like Ho-Sang, Beauvillier, or Dalcol on those wings, this is a really good move for the New York Islanders. And it's, like I said, it's not necessarily the big move, but nonetheless, it's a good move. And you know what? It sucks for Edmonton because they really, it's not like they need help down the middle, but it would have been good depth for them. It allows Draisaitl or Nugent Hopkins to play on the wing, and Brassard jumps onto the third line. But he saw the situation in Edmonton. Maybe maybe he was a little hesitant coming to the Edmonton Oilers, and then he saw the Islanders had pretty much given him a shot, and he wanted to go there. He's been in the New York area. He spent time with he was originally a New York Ranger. He was with the Pittsburgh Penguins for a little while. He's been in the East Coast now, for a little while now. So, makes sense. And he probably wants to be back in New York. That's probably the big thing. But, maybe things work out for him in the New York Islanders. So let me know what you guys think of the New York Islanders bringing in centerman Derick Brassard. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe as well. Check out our Instagram at GoalLineHockey. And thank you for watching, and have a good day.